about growing, fatherhood, artistry, giving back to the community through artistry. This week, we're still gonna be talking about being old, but we're gonna be talking about like being vicious old niggas and sometimes being a little bit angry about the world. And maybe you don't want to give back to the community because what did the community ever do for me? Uh, one of my favorite artists alive right now, working in rap and music in general. He's a genius beat maker, genius lyricist, and a genius sampler, in my opinion, up there with the likes of Knowledge and Dilla and Kanye, sampling some of my favorite gospel music, some of my favorite R&B shit. Ladies and gentlemen, JPEGMAFIA. What up, nigga?
What's good, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Where are you? Where you at in the world?
I'm in Canada. I'm in Canada.
No specifics on the city. You don't even want to. You don't even want to get
I,
into that.
I drew a blank for a second. I think I'm in Montreal. I'm in Montreal.
How's the tour going right now?
Um, you know, it's going how it goes. I'm just kind of, I'm just kind of on autopilot when it comes to tours sometimes, but it's fine.
Is it just? It's kind of like you're just in the motions of it. You're not really like.
Um,
You're not really feeling.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not,
Yeah.
it's just that when I don't release new shit for a while, I just get tired of performing the same things. And but the tour itself is great. I just like feel fatigued from it. That's all.
I feel you. I feel you. What's been the dopest city so far?
Well, we just started. We've only done two cities so far, so I guess by default, the last one I played because it's the only one I played.
And
I think I forgot where I was though. Yeah,
but you tour pretty like steadily. I feel like every time
yeah.
we talk, you're on the road.
I tour like a rock band, basically.
Right.
I'm always on the road doing some shit. Yeah, for sure. I'm never ever home, which is ass, but you know, it is what it is.
And do you work on music on the road a lot, or are you really like?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I have to. Otherwise, I would never work on music.
Yeah, because it's like when the fuck would you find the time to even?
I would. Yeah, I would never get time if I didn't like make myself a portable studio. So yeah.
Right. Um, I gotta say one of my favorite, I think, recent moments in your career was last year, you putting out Hazard Duty Pay, and
Oh
of
yeah,
course
yeah.
that being like such a fucking critically acclaimed song, but for me being so special to me because I don't know, I feel like a lot of fans might have known the sample reference, but a lot of niggas
Nah.
don't really know about
Nah.
the whinings like that. And
Yeah, nah. It's definitely a grew up in a black church kind of like like
yeah,
I pulled that sample from memory. I wasn't like digging. I was just like,
no,
what's this song my mom used
that's
to
not a
play?
crate dig.
Yeah, yeah. It was like, what's that song my mom used to play? Oh yeah, that fucking. And then I just remembered. I just typed in the lyrics and shit. But
Yeah, and
yeah.
I remember the first moment I heard it was in the car, and it was only on YouTube, so I'm like playing it like off Bluetooth on YouTube and shit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And I
yeah,
hear the sample, and I'm like, oh, this nigga's doing this. Like it completely threw me for a loop, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that, of like the inception of that song and seeing like the critical importance of it for you, and then the process of like getting that sample cleared, because we're talking about like I don't think people realize the Winans are like to gospel what fucking like Metallica is to metal. Like
yeah.
they're
Literally,
the
they're
gospel.
royalty. They're
Yeah.
royalty.
How was that?
So making the song, like I said, I just pulled it from memory. I wanted to feel something like nostalgic, and I just was like, I don't know, man. I just put the shit up. I was just like, no one else is gonna flip this shit, so I said, fuck
Yeah.
it, and I flipped it. And I honestly, I had it for like a year, and I didn't do shit with it because I didn't think I could clear it, honestly. But I
Mhm.
just, what I ended up having to do was like basically replay it and make like a almost pitch perfect uh, a smash up of it. So the
Uh-huh.
one that I released on streaming is kind of like a replayed one, and the one that's on YouTube is just flipped from a song. So that's
I
actually how I
see.
got around clearing it.
I see. So it's more of like under like interpolation
Yeah,
rules more so, or
it's interpolated because other than that, like yeah, it'd be not really possible.
yeah, like what's the price tag to just straight up
There's no
sample
price
a
tag.
wine song?
There's no price tag. A lot of people like in that genre, people will turn you down just because of who you are, or like just because you're secular, or because you
Right.
curse or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like a whole different. It's a whole different ball game. Like I remember Jay-Z had to change the sample for what was it? Streets is talking. I think
Uh-huh.
he had to change the sample from it because the artist was just like, nah, you can't curse in this shit. So he had to take all the curse words out, and that was it. That's the only way they clear it. They didn't care about the money.
Right. And like if BB or CC Winans goes and looks at the song title of any other JPEG Mafia song, they're like,
Yeah,
uh,
they gonna be like, oh hell no.
nah.
So I think it's definitely like they judge your character or they
Right.
judge like how you are
They
before
were they like,
they
you're not
curse
gonna
you.
do that to my God. Mm-mm.
Exactly, exactly. If I was like Lecrae or somebody like or like a gospel rapper or No
Lecrae. Oh
Malice.
my fucking God.
I'm just trying to pull somebody out my ass. If I was like No Malice or somebody or some shit, they might be like, all right, I feel you walking with the Lord. But
Man,
me,
you going in the gospel rap bag. I remember back in the day when I was a kid, there was a group called Gangsta Gospel Disciples or some shit like that.
wait, what?
Yes, it
I've
was
never
on
heard of this.
and it was crazy because they were like on some like Bone Thug shit, but they were only rapping about Christianity and like being good stewards of the Lord. But they were also, but they it was weird, man. They were trying to like have the aesthetic of like we kill niggas, but they had like
Yeah.
Bibles in the video and shit, and it was very funny. It was
It
like,
don't. It's. I remember back in the day, like being in a religious family and having that kind of energy around, and it just doesn't work usually because it's too conflicting
yeah,
lifestyles. You can't. I mean, you can be like that and be like a gangster crazy nigga, but like it just looks weird when you try to make that both your personalities at
it
once.
looks real. It's real weird, bro. It's like a bad mix of aesthetics because it's like,
Yeah. Like if you beef with a nigga, are you gonna pray for them or like beat them up? Like
right, right.
nobody's gonna know. So it's like, yeah, like, but yeah. So I know that energy, but yeah, it never usually works. But I have to look that up because that sounds funny as shit. The gangster disciples of God, the who's
Yeah, it was Gangsta Gospel Disciples. And I remember for a while, Deebo, Tiny Lister was trying to be on that shit. He would go on
oh
Trinity
shit.
Broadcasting Network. And I remember one time, bro, I was a kid, and I swear to God, if I could find this on YouTube or if somebody could find it, Deebo was on TBN talking with like two white pastors, and he was looking out into the crowd and at the camera, and he was like, "I'm telling you right now, if you ain't gonna accept God into your life, I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna have to squeeze you. I'm gonna have to squeeze you because this is a matter of life and death. I tell all my homies, if you don't accept Christ, I gotta beat you." And it's like literally like he was
I
literally
mean,
doing Deebo on TV, like, I will hit you if you don't
if you don't.
get on this guy's shit. It's
Hey
like,
yo,
bro,
that's one way to get a nigga to accept Christ is to just threaten them.
yeah, it was so funny, bro. Like 90s black male toxicity was like
Oh yeah,
it
it's a
was like
whole different. It's like it's just unnecessary. It's like yo, I'll be listening to shit from the '90s, and I'm like, damn, this is so unnecessary. It's like they don't even need to do it half the time. It's just like so ingrained. It's actually funny now when I listen to it. I'm like, oh, this would never
it's
apply.
so funny because it would always either loop around to being like damn near gay or
Yeah,
it's just like hilarious and not sounding tough at all.
pretty much. I don't know, man. I've definitely been. I don't know what this is, but I just been looking back at shit that out of context now and just like really enjoying how toxic it is without context. I'm just like, damn, this is toxic as fuck. I don't miss it, but I'm just like, I remember it. There was a time when like everything was just toxic as shit, and that's just how it was.
Yeah, I think. Do you think that artists and musicians and fans period in like music and art today have it easier or harder than what it was back then? Because we've been
They
around,
have
we're both in our early 30s, so we've seen
Yeah.
it kind of change over time. But how do you feel about it?
They have it easier and harder. They
Yeah.
kind of have it easier in the sense that it's easier to get yourself out there. Like, you know, the younger niggas now, like, I don't think they really into signing with labels and doing like this and that. Because they see you can just put your shit up yourself and just like do it that way and wait it out until you're worth something to somebody and they really like respect you and give you a price that's respectable. But also they have it way harder because every single thing they do is out in fucking public. You can't hide at all unless you're just not on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're like 20 or something, your entire life has been on the fucking internet, basically, damn near. So niggas can dig up whatever on you and just like use it against you at any point. So it's kind of harder in that sense that they have to kind of like watch what they say and do and look around their shoulder a lot more. Whereas like, yeah, you could in the 90s, you could have like 7 songs about beating bitches up and nobody would be like blink an eye. They'd be like, all right, bet.
They're like, yeah, okay, cool, man.
Now a nigga will be like, wait, no, which bitch did you beat up? I found her. Here's her Twitter. And she said, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's kind of that kind of energy. So it's like they have it easier and harder in that sense. It's easier that they can get their shit out there. But like, once you're out there, you have to watch what you do and how you act, really.
Yeah. And I feel like the like old guard of music and entertainment was so toxic that it was so accepted and so like, you know what I mean? It was just like that was what they did. It's almost like when you watch old clips of football in like the 60s and 70s and they hit a nigga and he almost dies.
They're just like helmet to helmet crashing into each other.
Yeah, and everybody's like happy about it for some reason. Like nobody's really sad. Like a nigga would kind of get hurt now in basketball and like they play the national anthem and like Fergie comes out and shit. Like, oh man, sports, they used to just a nigga would get his brain would turn into salsa on the field and they would just
on
like,
everything. Yeah.
And I feel that way about music shit too. Like you hear like, I mean, even thinking about like where Jay Prince comes out of, that kind of old guard of like, the Suge Knights and like gang culture being like so intertwined with the music shit. I think that like a lot of shit couldn't have survived back then just because you wouldn't have. How would you have made it through this gauntlet of niggadom? Like,
the gauntlet of niggadom. Yeah, nah, it's definitely that's the God honest truth, yo. Like, I didn't realize it at the time because I was too young, but like, I don't know what the hell was going on with like. I mean, I know what the hell is going on now, but it was just I don't know how you survived in that era. You just had to be the hardest nigga on earth to survive through like the East Coast, West Coast shit and all that shit. Like it was just so toxic. There's no way you could be any other way. But like, I'll say this, gang culture has always been intertwined with rap. That's kind of where it came from. It came from like, you know what I mean? They didn't really speak on it in the beginning. It was more like, cause they want to, the hardest, craziest niggas, they only want to put out positivity because they just so fucking crazy in real life. So you know what I'm saying? Like it was all Sugar Hill loops and the hip hop and all that shit.
But Curtis Blow was definitely stabbing niggas at one point.
Exactly. Like it came from the same area and like eventually that shit just poked out. So it's literally never not been intertwined with it. So even it's heavily intertwined with it at this very moment in rap, but it's kind of always been like that. It's just kind of it dips in and out of popularity.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel any sort of disgust or like a feeling of it being derogatory when people try to delineate between real rap or what is considered legitimized and what is not? How do you feel about that entire conversation? Because I know it's moving. I don't know where the window is at right now. Honestly, I couldn't tell you because so many things are generally just kind of accepted. It's being fucking weirdo is it kind of like went out of style and then like came back somehow. And
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not really
weird.
sure where the needle is at. But what's your take on that conversation?
Um, right now in rap right now is really being gatekept by pop music to me. Like rap and pop kind of goes hand in hand. Like you seen that Rolling Stones list, the hip hop, whatever top whatever list. I don't know what the fuck they did. I just went on my Twitter and I saw niggas going crazy about some lists. I don't know what
Uh-huh.
happened, but I glanced at the list and I was just like, it's a perfect reflection of like where we're at today. It's kind of like rap and pop are the same thing. Rap is pop. It's the most popular genre on the planet now. So
Yes.
like what flies now is just odd. Cause it's like it seems to be to me, just from my perspective, just from seeing all this rap change throughout the years and whatever, it seems to be like, how do I say this? You have to be like street adjacent in order to be like really popular.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be, and if you're a weirdo, you have to be like the most weird or like this and that. And it's just it's very odd. It just seems like it's gatekept by people who don't really give a fuck about it in
Yeah.
reality. They just kind of, I don't know, they're just kind of like they're pushing their baseless opinion on nothing. And it's just like I don't really like where it is right now because to me, if you're being your authentic self, no matter what you're doing, people should accept that. But it's just so many weird rules. You got to be connected to this person. You got to be co-signed by this or
Mm-hmm.
that. You got to look this way or whatever. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I think at the same time, everything's kind of accepted in a way that's like you can just have your little like area and that be your thing or whatever. But in order to like have like mainstream success, like a Cardi B or somebody like that, it's like some kind of weird formula that I don't know what that shit is to be honest with you. But I am
Yeah.
too much of a real nigga to partake. I have no fucking idea what these niggas
It's complete. I mean, it's beyond me. I mean, I feel like we don't. I feel like we don't. Our asses aren't fat enough. First off, to even be considered in that form, we are not thick enough to be in that formula. So it's like, you know what I mean. And I think like into what you're saying, I agree that like I think, and I was talking to my nigga about this the other day that like, and I don't think this is something that we necessarily need or whatever, but I do think that the way in which like women are completely running rap music right now is
Oh, that's great.
is that there's a willingness and a fire deep within them to be well rounded and to be like stewards of multiple art forms. Where like you look at a Doja, and it's like okay, she can rap, she can sing, she can dance, and she's also an idiot online, which is like okay, if you can, that's like, and now I really truly feel like how back in the day there was like the five elements to hip hop is breakdancing.
Yeah, that shit's
Well,
super dead.
I really think the five elements of hip hop or rap music in general now is like, can you do choreo? do you have
Yeah, yeah,
do you have a fat ass?
yeah.
Are you funny online? You know what I mean? I just think like
Yeah, exactly. That
yeah,
you said it way better than I did, but that's kind of what I was pointing at. It's more, I guess the gist of what I was trying to say is like what you just said. It's way less about the music and more like how you are as a brand, more than like
yes, yeah,
what your music actually sounds like. The music is kind of like as long as it's serviceable and passable and whatever, it can kind of live anywhere. But like you as a brand is what's really pushing
hmm
everything. And I guess like from the era I came up in, or even the artists I used to listen to, like MF Doom, or even all
yeah,
these like nameless, faceless ass indie bands that all make hella money and we don't know what the fuck they look like. Like I just come from a different era where like who you were personally didn't matter as much. But
uh-huh.
now I see it's like you got it. That's part of your thing now, and it's just like it's hard for me because and it's hard for people like me because me personally, I'm extremely private, and I don't like to. If people really saw how I really was all day, it would be terrible. I'd lose all my fans because I'm a hater. I hate everybody. I sit in my house. I got hella guns. Like I'm basically a Republican, bro. Like, I sit around. I'm ready for action at all times. I'm the most pessimistic person on the planet.
My
because
guy, yeah.
because people treat me that way. Like I learned how to be that way from experience, and I can't walk around explaining that to people all the time. So I just keep it to myself. So, but when I see that
Yeah,
shit, like,
nah, for real. Like
yeah,
minus the self black hatred. Like I love being black, but minus
yeah.
that part, nigga, I live exactly like Clayton Bigsby off Chappelle Show.
Oh God, bro. Yeah, it's like, no, bro. Like for real. That's so real. I have a Clayton Bixby lifestyle. I don't want to expose it.
Because I mean, it's like I don't know how, and I gotta talk to you about your upbringing too. But like I'm from Georgia. It's like
Mm.
unavoidable. Like you eventually just you develop high blood pressure or diabetes, and you have all of a sudden
Yeah.
one day, and that's
Yeah.
just that's just your life now. Your vision start going bad, but
That's
um,
it. That's it. Yeah,
I do want to
I
talk
grew
about.
up in the South as well, not Georgia, but I grew up in
Okay,
the
yeah,
South.
where'd you
So
grow up at?
I was in Louisiana.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
okay, that's
Louisiana, Alabama. I moved. I was one of those kids that moved around. Like you see me in school, and then one day I just wouldn't be in school no more. I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like the kid that just
yeah.
kept disappearing. I'm that kid.
And that I guess kind of like informs what you are today of kind of just being like a recluse and you just be in the crib and you don't
Yeah,
really
bro.
yeah yeah
Yeah, because like going through moving around a lot, you just see patterns in different people that have nothing to do with each other, and you
hmm
start to see bullshit a lot easier. So like when I detect bullshit, I just it's like a choice. I be like, shit, I can either partake in this or I can like be a real nigga. And most of the times I just choose to be neutral because like it's probably not in my best interest to be a real nigga at those moments. But
yeah
yeah, the way I grew up is definitely like, it's from experience. I just learned to be guarded because like, yeah, growing up uh, in any kind of environment like that, the social rules are different. So I'm operating from a different mindset than like most of my fan base probably.
right yeah and do you feel like despite the fact that you have kind of like communicated to the world like listen, I'm cynical. I'm a recluse. I'm guarded. Do you feel like, despite communicating that you still get people trying to have like these parasocial relationships
Yeah.
with you and kind of treating you like you guys are friends, or
Oh
from a
yeah.
fan perspective?
All the time. Literally all the time. Maybe like most people don't see it, but niggas say crazy shit about me all the time and write it off as truth. It's just like I've seen people say like, yeah, JPEG Mafia robbed me back in the day, and I'm like, I didn't. I never robbed you. What, like, you know what I'm saying? But why are you saying this as if it's reality? Because you know someone's gonna believe that shit. But like, yeah, no, I see it all the time. I tell people like I'm a terrible person, and like I literally over exaggerate the shit just so people stay away, and they're still on my ass. So that's why
Yeah,
like. Yeah, I really feel for people like I remember you said like Doja Cat acts weird online, but like, shit, man. If at that level, I can only imagine what the
man,
fuck people are saying about her to her in private, behind her back, the shit she gives about. It's like shit, man. Sometimes you just gotta be a weirdo online because that's the only release you get. So I get
yeah,
it. Cause at my level, people are like on my ass. So like, I don't know. At a greater level, it must be crazy.
yeah. I mean, it's like I'm not really sure how because it's like there's so many. It feels like there's so many generations of fame and celebrity obsession,
Yeah.
and then within the past like 10 years we kind of lit all that shit on fire and made it like way crazier. So I'm not really sure how you
COVID.
reverse that.
It was
And
fucking COVID. COVID
yeah,
did it. When
especially
we was all
COVID
in the
made everything.
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
COVID like sped it up.
Do you feel like do you feel like there's a way for you to reverse that? Is that something that you want to reverse? Because you're only gonna, as you release more music and everything's so fucking good, like you gain more and more fans and you get bigger and you do get more attention. Is that something that you are actively like, I want to pull away from that? Are you like
No,
accepting
I
of it?
wanna I'm accepting of it. I understand. I just it makes me scared because I don't know how to be like I don't know how to be like Doja Cat, to be honest. You have to have a certain level of like fear in order to be that vulnerable online, honestly. I mean, you have to have a certain lack of fear to be that vulnerable online. It's really hard. The times that I am vulnerable online, people just tell me to shut up, or like they say crazy shit to me back, or just like, it's crazy, bro. I just be like, I thought I was being really open, but like people just interpret things however the fuck they want, regardless of how you put it out. So I'm accepting of it. I just have to build up the confidence and the lack of fear, you know, the balls to just go out there and be like that. But like at the same time, it's scary because I don't know who I'm going to attract being like a pessimistic old black man who hates everything. Like, I don't know. It's like there's no, when you're like a white dude and you're just sitting around getting no bitches and just hating on black people, there's a huge audience for that shit. You can make a whole living off of that. But like niggas who, you know, just kind of keep to themselves and don't really be out there like that. There's no, we don't have the same, margin for error. So like we have to like, there's all these weird social rules that all of us, regardless of even in my weirdo lane, I feel like I have to still follow the social rules of like a Playboy Cardi. It's just like, it's not even me. I don't even care about that shit. I'm just, not that I don't care about Playboy Cardi, but like the social rules of that shit. Like I'm not trying to look cool. I'm not trying to do whatever. I'm a weirdo. But like, anyway, I don't know if any of that made sense. I'm just babbling.
No, it does. I mean, to your point, like, you know, when black men want to be quiet and just be in the house and be to ourselves, the police are still right there.
Literally.
You know what
literally,
I mean? Like, and being a white recluse, you just get to like do terrorism. Like literally, like whatever your desire is, you can just go do it. So it's like we don't have the same level of like, okay, I can tweak and do this. And
you can't.
You have to be perfect the first time. And to your point, like I've noticed Cardi just kind of like be so away from all of that. And when he just says shit that's like pure and childlike, and it's like perfect. You know what I mean? Like he never makes that. And I'm like, God, man,
he never. And the thing about him, and the amazing thing about Cardi is like he's always been like that. Even before we were in this era, he was like already like that. Like he came up like that. So it's like it's actually beautiful to see. Playboy Cardi is an anomaly. I always say that shit, bro. He doesn't say anything and do anything, and then when he drops, it's like an atomic bomb. It's like it's really tight. It's really interesting to see. But yeah, like I guess when I was referencing like the social things from like I meant the fan base kind of, not really him. Like, you know, like I wish I had the temperament to not say anything online ever, but I'm too emotional of a nigga. You know, sometimes I just be like, I gotta tweak out on some shit. Like some shit will happen and I'll just say some shit and nobody will even have context to it. But like I will. And it's just like I just need to do it for myself. But it's all good. I have a burner account now, so that won't happen anymore.
Oh yeah, bro. I be going crazy on the burner. Like
my burner is ridiculous. Some straight fentanyl laced hatred on that motherfucker on my damn burner.
Bro, my burner's so nasty, bro. It's just like, but like sometimes just having that like little mini diary, it like puts into. I think everybody needs a burner with 0 followers.
That's mine.
Just so you kind of like get back in tune with the fact that all of this is just talking to ourselves. Like all this social media shit is just like weird
shouts in the dark,
man. But I wanted to touch on this. I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this, but Danny,
let's go.
Danny mentioned it at Smokers Club Fest that you two have a project together.
Oh yeah, okay. So I'm not actually sure how much I'm allowed to say that either, but I'm definitely working. I've definitely been working with him closely all year. So I'm just, I don't want to say too much. I guess there is definitely an album that exists and that I'm working on, but everything, all the rest of everything after that is kind of in the air.
That's classified.
Got it. Yeah. I'm just gonna figure it out from there. But we definitely have an album.
And what is it like working with Danny? Like, what's the process? How is y'all's working relationship?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's actually really great. You know, I feel a pressure when I work with certain artists. I'm just like, let me make sure my piano playing is on point, or let me make sure like we in a nice studio. I just want to present well, you know, because
Yeah.
I feel like people come in with a lot of assumptions about me that I'm like really dirty and like I might try to fight them or something. And I'm just like, no, everything's fine. But
Yeah.
Danny, he's like so not judgmental at all.
Hmm.
uh we're like the same person or something, so we just like we just sat down and it was just like, yeah, we kind of just hang out and then we work when we work and then we just do whatever afterwards. So we just been existing around each other and an album kind of sprung up organically.
That's beautiful. It's just completely like through the relationship and like not like a contrived, you know, formulaic thing. So that's dope. And
Yeah,
are you guys
and that's my idol too. That's like one of my idols, you know. I saw him play.
okay?
I told this story before, but I saw him play like 10, I don't know, 12 years ago now, when I was like way younger. Goddamn.
Are you
But
talking
like,
about
yeah,
you talking about swoop haircut, Danny?
swoop haircut, Danny with no teeth. That's that
Yeah.
Danny. He popped out there and he was on Childish Gambino's tour, and he opened up, and he's the first rapper I've seen show up on time, like 8 o'clock on the dot. That nigga said, check, walk straight on stage. I was like, shit. All right then.
So this had to be around the time like Triple X was out and like he was doing his like the
Before.
blog era shit. Oh, before.
It was before. It was just only the hybrid was out. Triple X was about to come out, so I saw him like long ass time ago.
And were you already working on music during that time?
I was, but nothing, you know, nothing substantial enough for me to present to him. So I don't think I ever even spoke to him or got his autograph enough, and I just saw him. And I just been a fan since then. So like, you know, to be able to work and make music with him is so natural because I came out of his influence, you know. So it's just like
Right.
two magnets, two opposite magnets is good, sticking to each other, not going away.
Is there anybody else in that kind of like in that kind of hole that you're like, oh man, I've been watching this person for a long time and I'm like ready to, or is there anyone that feel like I'm not there yet, but I know I'm gonna work with this person?
Um, there's a lot of people like that. There's like people like Tom York. I really would like to, you know.
Oh wow.
There's these people that have very elegant reputations, like Bjork and like people like this, and I would like to work with them, but I don't think I'm serious enough of. I don't think I present myself as serious enough as a person to work with somebody like them yet. So, but like as far as just like sitting down and making music, I would absolutely love to sit down and make some sounds with them. Like that would be the easiest thing in the world. It's
I
just
don't know,
you
man.
know.
I feel like Tom York and Bjork be on some silly shit.
I
Like,
did meet Bjork, and she on I did meet Bjork, and she was definitely had more of like a she was more we were at a party and she was really partying hard, and I was
yeah,
just like
nah,
surprised.
I know she from Iceland, but Bjork act like a nigga. Like she really,
Yeah, she definitely
I,
does.
I really feel like she act like a hood bitch who talk with her mouth full. Like that's what
I
she
can't
just
even fix
strike me as.
my mouth to say something like that about her. Yo,
I'm just dead ass, but like Bjork, since I was a kid, she strike me as like the type of bitch who eat hot Cheetos off a piece of notebook paper,
what the fuck?
like your little homegirl in middle school. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. She definitely. When I met her, I was really scared because I had a bunch of assumptions of how she would act, basically based on nothing for real, like just on the music. So,
Bro,
you know, when
she beat a bitch up for fucking with her next to her baby.
hey
Like,
yo, that's one of
not
the
with none of that bullshit.
for real, one of the best moments in music history. She said, she said, hey Bjork, how you doing? What she say? Welcome to Norway. She punched that bitch straight in her face. She was like, I ain't trying to hear none of this shit.
With a baby carriage, she was like, not today.
No, for real. No, it's like, you know what it is? I'd love to see what built up to that, because you know people have been saying crazy shit to her for so long that she just took it out on that person. She was just like, I don't even want to hear this shit no more. So it's just like, yeah, she knocked that motherfucker out.
I think like I get what you're saying. It's like there's a level of prestige to that because she literally like Bjork. And a lot of people might be too young, but I grew up in the 90s. Bjork, nigga, nobody knew what Iceland even was.
Yeah,
until Bjork came out. Nobody knew what that was.
That was not a real place.
It wasn't a place, and she put that shit on the map. How like niggas put Atlanta on the map in the 90s, or how niggas put anything on the map. So I feel like she carries this weight of just being like a super regular, just like village peasant, you know, grew up poor type girl in Iceland, and she holds the whole weight of Iceland on her back. So I think she would connect more with modern, like weird black niggas making music than anybody else before. It's
definitely. And now that I've met her, I know that more. But yeah, but before meeting some of these people, it's scary to me because I've been fans of them for so long, you know.